Went out to Harmony this morning, did the Shamrock Shuffle, what I call the trifecta. Did 3 races. They have a half, 5K, and a 1 mile. You can do all 3. I did all 3. You have enough time in between to recover. I finished second in the half. I'll start with the half because that was the first one. That was at 7:30 this morning. I had to get up at like 5, I think it was, to be out of the house at 5:20 to get down there. Hour and a half drive because I took turnpike a little bit. So last night I got like 4 hours of sleep because I went to the Tomahawks game last night. So by the time I packed and got shit ready, I only got 4 hours. So I was a little bit tired this morning. So I drank this Prime energy drink. Has like 200 milligrams of coffee or caffeine, whatever you want to call it, in it. Yeah, my throat's getting a little dry now. But on the way down, I think that helped me in the half this morning. My time was a hell of a lot better than it was in the previous years that I've ran the race. I think this might be it's at least the 3rd, if not the 4th time I've ran this race. I won it 2 other times. I don't think I won it. Yeah, at least 2 out of the 3 times I've ran it, I've won. I'm not sure if I won 3 out of the 4, but it's neither here nor there. So on the way down this morning, it rained the whole time, heavy in some spots. Wind was pushing me around in the car a little bit. Luckily, when I got to the race, it was actually past us for the half. So that was kind of nice. For the half marathon, I wore my thicker shirt, compression shorts with shorts over top, thicker socks, because I figured the roads were going to be wet, so I needed a little bit more cushion so my feet don't get as crabby. Wore my neck gaiter, my leg mitts, my visor beanie to start the race because it was only 43 degrees, so I had to make sure I was warm. You know, once you get cold, you're going to run slower. Trying to save off hypothermia as well. Did get a little bit too hot, and I think that did slow me down a little bit, even though the energy drink actually boosted me more. So this race course itself for the half is kind of tough. It's got some hills to it. People always complain about the hills and how it's a hard half, but I think that's part of the challenge of why I like going back every year, because it's not a rail trail flat thing where, you know, everybody thinks it's easy. So I got there, registered, whatnot, and when I got to the start line, I felt pretty good. I was actually awake a little bit. Me and this younger kid took off. It was basically me and him the whole race. Nobody else really near us. I think 3rd place was maybe 20 minutes, at least 15 minutes after me, and I was in 2nd. I finished 2nd. So there was definitely a wide gap, more so because of the hills than anything, because there was people within sight, at least for the first 4 or 5 miles. So me and this kid took off. I'm watching him. He's a pretty strong runner. He's a high school kid. Right away, I was like, all right, because I'll just wait and pick my moment when he falls off. Because most high school kids, let's be honest, don't really run half marathons or don't train for that distance. So when you run into that, most of the time you just wait them out and pick your moment and take them. So that's like my idea of what I was going to do for the race. I was like, all right, I'm going to get him on the hills because that's a strength of mine. His legs will get tired, I'll take him there. So we do the first couple miles. You know, I'm within 5 seconds of him, not really pushing, doing my thing, you know, just hanging back easy, even though my heart rate's like 160s. So it's actually in like the red line zone for me. But I wasn't even feeling red line at all. I think the energy drink had my heart rate a little bit sped up, but I wasn't expelling more energy. I guess is the best way to put it. So I'm going. First 3 miles I did in 17:40, which if you would have told me going in I was going to run 17:40 for the first 3 miles, I was like, you're insane. I was like, there's no way I'm going to do that. Nor would I want to ever, unless I'm going for a PR and a half. I'm not going to be running that sort of pace to start. Basically because it's unmaintainable for the most part for me, unless again I'm going for a PR. So I was like, all right, that's probably not a good thing, but we just went with it because I was feeling good riding the wave. So we do our couple miles around town. There's a couple out and backs real quick, a little bit of a loop, and then we head out on a long stretch. I think it's like 4 miles. We'll just say it's 4 miles before you turn around and come back to town and finish up. So a mile or two of relatively flat, but a couple of turns. I'm hanging with this kid. He had no more than 10 seconds on me at the time. Like I said, he's just right in front of me. I would say it's more closer to 5 seconds. Now we got the hills coming up. I was like, all right, let's watch him. Let's see what he does here. Pick your moment, take him. I'm just running my race, you know, like nice and casual. I thought I was running a casual pace, even though my watch would say I was running a little bit harder. I just felt I was being casual. I stay on the opposite side of the road he's on, so hopefully he looks back on his other side and doesn't see me. I'm hopefully on like a blinder. I'm like, all right, he's running pretty strong on these hills. I was like, all right, kid's pretty good. I actually thought that the whole time before we hit the hills. I was like, man, this kid's pretty damn good. He might give me a run for my money today. So I'm watching him. Finally, he slows up a little bit, starts walking a little bit. I was like, all right, you got him now. I was like, he's fading. You're going to get him on the hill. He looks back and he sees me and he takes off. I'm like, shit. I was like, all right, you ain't going to get him right now. That was on the first steep climb. It's basically a set of 2 hills. They're both pretty long, but to me they're manageable. I think we're like 800 feet into the race by the time we actually top it out. It's not 800 foot a straight climb. Again, it's 2 hills put together, but with the other first 4 or 5 miles of the race, you get that 800-ish roughly. So I was like, all right, I'll wait till the next one. Maybe his legs burn up on that first one when he kept going. He starts slowing up again, looks back and takes back off. I'm like, damn it. I was like, all right, you just have to hope at that point he's not trained for a half again. As I said before, just wait for him to fade. I'm hanging with him. As we crest the actual top, there's probably about a half mile to another mile, a little shy of a mile before you turn around and head back to town. I was with him. I was like, all right, he's got to fade sometime soon. He didn't. Right where we crest the top of the hill, there's a water stop. I took a water, looked back up, dude is gone. He just completely turned the afterburners on the downhill, and he completely gapped me from there. Kid's definitely a strong runner. I told him that after the race. I was like, man, you're pretty good. I wasn't expecting that, but like watching him early on, his mechanics were solid. You could tell he was definitely a strong runner. Again, I was just hoping that he wasn't trained for that sort of distance where I could get him later on, which obviously he was pretty good and trained for that distance. So, sucks for me. I came in second. But I was just watching him from a distance, you know, up ahead, you know, still hoping. But I sort of knew in the back of my mind that it just wasn't in the cards for me today. Even though I would say I PR'd the course by a solid 5 or 6 minutes. I think I came in at like a 125. I think the best I did like on that before was like a 130, 131. So I have like 1:25:22 roughly crossing the mat. So give or take a few seconds either way. So I'm 99% sure I PR'd by at least 5 minutes today on that course, just because it's so hilly, and in past years it's been really cold. I think there was some snow and ice the one year for it, the years that I won. But I just ran into better competition today, better runner than me. It happens. I wasn't actually upset because I was like, dude, this kid's a beast. See, when you run into competition like that, you just have to give them props and say congratulations, which I did. So I was like, man, this kid's just good. I mean, there's no other way to say it. I just hope that the cards fell my way, not his. But again, we had 10-15 minutes. I would say 10 minutes at the turn. And again, I think 15 to 20 at the finish of the race from like third place. So we really blew competition away today in the half, which was fine. But going in, I wanted to win the half and the mile. I didn't care about the 5K because I figured as soon as I run a half, there's no way I'm going to keep up with the speedsters in a 5K, which I knew there was going to be some speedsters, high school kids. But this year, the conditions of the course were pretty good. Best that I've seen it, so that helped a lot. Yeah, overall it was fun. There's always enough water stops. You really don't need much signage because there's like straight stretches and you can't really turn if you're paying attention, but where there is turns, there's plenty of people so you don't get lost. So yeah, I finished second in the half, 1:25, which I'm very happy with this time of year being March. Not going for a PR, pushing. I think that's an excellent time for me. I would say that might be about average, but for like June, July, but for a March, that's outstanding for me. I couldn't ask for a better time today, so I'm happy with that. I mean, I'm obviously upset that I didn't win, but I'm not like upset where like, shit, I blew it. Again, I ran into better competition, so I'm not aggravated about it. So I had like a good hour, probably an hour and a half. I'm trying to do the math on the top of my head real quick before the 5K starts. The 10K starts at 10:15, so 7:30 plus. So I had an hour and 15 minutes roughly, hour and 20 to recoup, recover. And my plan was to change clothes. I changed shirt, socks, shoes. I brought 3 pairs today. I think maybe 4 pairs of socks, 3 pairs of shoes. Just to be smart so I could have options during the race. I did that, hung out in my car, turned the heater on because I felt cold. I stood around at the finish line for a couple minutes. Actually, I stayed at the finish till third place came in. That's how I knew he was like 20 minutes behind. Then I went and changed. I was getting cold then. Had to go poop. Well, I dropped a nice one in the bathroom. I just had to. Actually, that's more or less why I left the finish line, because it hit me and there was no stopping it. So I changed in my car, hung out, listened to some music, staying warm, and it started raining probably 10-15 minutes before the 5K start. So I threw on a rain jacket, made sure it's cinched down over the top of my head. Again, since I wasn't racing the 5K for time or placement, I was just running it to get my miles in for the day. So it's just basically a throwaway race. And to keep my legs loose, I didn't really care. So I think I threw down like a 21-minute 5K. I just ran comfortably the whole time to keep my legs loose. I felt decent while it was raining. It did suck a little bit being moist and whatnot, but you'll have that. I passed a ton of people that took off right away. I might to finish top 12 to 15 range. There's a bunch of young kids. There's some kids that like drop, I think 16s, 2 kids in the 16s, I believe, or 17s. I don't know. Either way, there was no way I was throwing down at times that they did after a half. So I didn't really care. And I knew that going in, and I was like, you try to race the 5K hard, you're just going to blow up, and you're not going to be able to do anything for the mile. Now, the one thing with the 5K, it's a little bit of an out and back, but then we do like the same like last half mile for all 3 races. We're supposed to go down this one little gravel alley with, there's an arrow. I knew that from the half and the years past running it. People actually went down the next little block and cut in. I just followed the people down because there's 6 people in front of me that did it. So like, I'm just gonna follow what everybody else did instead of actually running the right course. So I did add a little bit more mileage on my time, probably 15-20 seconds of additional time, but I just figured, again, since like the 6 people that I could see in front of me did it, I'm just gonna follow the leader just to be in all fairness. So I don't know what everybody did behind me. I think some people corrected it, but whatever. I didn't care, so it wasn't a big deal. Now, if I was racing the race, I would have taken the right course and said, screw those people, they went the wrong way. Sucks for them. You know, they just lost a place. I mean, I would have yelled at them, they're going the wrong way, but whatever. But other than that, there was really nothing special about the 5K since I wasn't really racing it. Then I had like 20-ish minutes between that and the mile. Well, actually before the 5K, standing around, even though I got warm in my car, I started shaking a lot, like on the verge of hypothermia. Like right before the race started, I was getting kind of worried. I was like, man, if I start to freeze, I'm screwing myself up for the 5 and the 1. Because I'm just going to put myself in that danger zone of hypothermia, and I felt it coming on. Luckily, the race started, and I warmed myself up with my new rain jacket. It actually probably overheated me more, which is fine by me in that rain. It's probably more so the rain and the moisture in the air just making my body tired because of my legs and stuff being exposed instead of my the core with the jacket and not having it really warmed up yet inside. I just threw it on before I got out. So the 20 minutes between the 5K and the mile, I changed socks, I changed shoes again. I actually wore this shirt. I don't know why I'm still wearing it. So I felt good, tied my shoes up tight. I was like, I'm going for it. I felt like I was running late. I even just switched to a normal regular style hat, no gloves, no gaiter. I was like, you're gonna be turning and burning. If you get cold right off the bat, so be it. You're gonna be overheated by the time you finish, so you don't just dress light, be smart, which is what I did. It was delayed a couple minutes at the start, trying to filter in some of the 5K people through. So I actually had to put my shirt over my face a little bit to keep my face warm, and I had my hands in my pockets to keep them warm. It worked. I didn't get the shakes, but the rain stopped before the mile started, so I got a little bit more warm because that moisture just wasn't hitting my body. Might actually got a couple degrees warmer than in between as well, so that helped. I need some water. Shit, where's all my water? Well, anyway. So the mile, there was a couple kids. Well, there's a guy and a kid who looked like they were going to take this pretty seriously. I was like, ah, damn it. You know, not that I didn't want the competition, but I was like, man, I hope my body has enough left in it. And the one dude, the way he was dressed, I was like, all right, he looks like he could drop like a 4:30 5-minute mile. I was like, that's probably out of the realm of possibilities for me. So I was like, shit. There was a little bit of confusion of the race course for the mile. When we got it straightened out, I told him like how we did it in previous years. Because otherwise, the way we were going to go was only going to be a half mile. And I was like, no, we got to do this. So we figured it out. First, we take off like a straight shot, going out of town. We circle around these cones, come back, and then we do like the final half mile loop for the 5K, and the half does to get the mile. So we settled on that. So I knew the turns at the second half of the race. Well, these two dudes, well, one's a high school kid. I was talking to him. He actually did like a track meet invitational yesterday. So he did like 4 events, I think. And then I don't know about this other guy because he's older. Either way, so they take off going down this straight stretch to start like really fast. And I'm like, man, they're doing like 4:30. I was like, this sucks. I was like, I at least like to win one of these races, you know. That was the goal for the day, was to win 2, but I'd at least like to win 1. Oh, I gotta get this drink. So they had like a 5-second gap on me at the turn. I'm like, shit. There's no way I'm gonna like be able to maintain the speed or even have anything to push and get them. So I kept going. I was like, all right. My legs actually felt surprisingly good. Don't know why or how they did, but they did. I just kept moseying with my little 5-second pace. Slowly, I started creeping up on them. I think they might have went out too fast and too hard, and it finally like kicked in within that half mile, which usually happens. You go out too fast, and you red line, you're gonna like hit the wall within a half mile. As soon as your body adjusts and that, like your heart rate just like jumps, you're just gonna feel that red line / wall hit you really hard in the face, the rest of your body, and I think that's what happened. But a couple of turns happened, and I mean, I was just creeping up on them. I was like, all right, I know what this half mile is going to be like. It's a little bit downhill with like 3 turns, then there's a slight up before you go down into the finish line chute. Well, the gravel alley comes into play again that I talked about in the 5K that people missed, even though there's an arrow. They hesitated which way to go. I took that inside corner to the right as they hesitated. I didn't lose any momentum whatsoever. I shot right past both of them, like the 2 of them. I didn't look back from there at all. They gave me that opportunity to take them. I took it. And as soon as I passed them, which was about 8/10 into the race, I said to myself, it's now or never. Don't let up. You got 2/10. Push your ass as hard as you can. And that's what I did. I just went whoop, pushed the rest of the way to the finish line. I think I came in at like 5:40 range, 5:40, 5:45. I don't know what the official time is yet. They won't be up till later. But that hesitation, like I said, is they gave me that window. I took the window on that inside corner and I didn't look back. I was proud of myself. I'm still smiling about it because you don't get those opportunities too much. And when you do it, you got to take full advantage of it. And today I did. Now, the one guy, I say he got sick a little bit. Probably because when he slowed down or hesitated, it finally kicked in, or the red line finally kicked in. And then same with that younger kid. They ended up coming in like 15 seconds behind me. So they just basically hit the wall as I passed them, which, hey, I'm sorry to say, I'm so happy I took that mile. And just at that moment, I'm just so proud how I seized the moment to take the race and the position. I don't have to often say about those specific moments in a race, but today it just made myself proud. Now that they hit the wall or fell back, okay, like if they would have gave me a run for my money and it would have been on my ass the rest of the way, you know, that would have been another thing, and I would have been a little bit more prouder of seizing it, because that would have just gave me that slight edge to hold them off. But just that moment, just seizing that moment, I was just like, you could see it in my face. I was just so happy I took it and was able to do it, knowing the course, which obviously gave me advantage over those two because they didn't know which way to go. So I finished that. So I took 1 of 3 today. I would say I'm happy with the performances in all 3. Again, the half I PR'd. I want to definitely PR'd for the course. The 5K again, it was probably a PR for the 5K too, because I've always run on such tired or shitty legs during that 5K, and I'd have to look at the mile time, but it was probably another PR as well. Like when you run those 3 races back to back, oftentimes it's hard to get going and re-energize yourself just to be able to restart. And today I restarted pretty good. Was able to run at a high level. I think at the highest level I could ask for all 3. And again, right now my legs actually feel really good. Maybe when I get home and settle down a little bit and the caffeine finally wears off, I'll hit a wall and fall asleep, but whatever. Even though I fell short of taking 2 out of the 3, I'll take the 1, given the better competition. Well, when I say better competition, I mean better runner. I'm not going to get upset about losing to a better runner. Other than that, I had fun today. I'm glad it was actually warm. Actually, 66 degrees right now. I'm going to have to run a couple more today, get my 20 in, because if I'm already 17 plus miles in, I might as well do 2 or 3 more to get my 20 long run in, so I don't have to do it tomorrow. I did get a couple gift certificates for like local area businesses. I think I had 40 bucks. Let's see. Or no, 65 bucks I think is what I got total. 2 25s and a 15. Because I won the overall for all 3 races combined. I won the mile, and then finishing second, I got like a 15. The 2 25s were the for winning the overall and the top 3 times from doing all 3 races, the 1 mile. Then I had a 15 for finishing second in the half marathon. So my buddy showed up, supported me, him and his wife. So we went out, ate like Goodfellas in Zelienople afterwards. So we all had a free meal. Because it's not like I'm gonna come back down just to eat or anything like that. I just would have gave him away if he didn't come. So I actually got to use him, and I took some food home for supper for me and my grandmother. So that's gonna be good. So I'm happy with that too. Full stomach. Got some food for later. Now I did, in the half marathon, I did touch on, I did get too hot. I ended up taking my gaiter, putting it on my head. I put my Blade mitts in my pockets because my hands were warm. If I would have kept them, I probably would have died because I would have overheated a little bit. And I actually put the shirt, you know, if you ever see me race before, I pull it over my head. I did that for 2 reasons. 1, because I got too hot, and 2, it was like a little bit before the hill, maybe half mile or mile before the hill. So I wanted to keep my shoulders back as I was going up the hill, which that actually helps me do a little bit more. It gives you a little bit more support to keep your chest and stuff open. Little secret tip on that. If you ever want a little bit of an advantage and you're wearing a shirt, just pull it over your head, but keep your arms in it, and it makes your chest more wide open instead of like slunch. So that did help me a little bit today. And then after the half, I actually felt it probably 7-8 miles into the half, a blister on the left Achilles area. I was like, shit. I could feel it as a hot spot, and I did pop it after the half before the 5K. Tell you what, the pus that came out of that was like gold. It was that golden liquid pus with just a hint of like bloodiness to it. And as soon as I popped it, I was like, oh, I had to pop it. There's no way for me not to have popped it. But it just burnt like hell. I put a nippies on it trying to protect a little bit. That didn't help. And I could feel it for most of the 5K, just the rawness of that freshly popped blister. Normally, if I'm going to pop a blister like that, I'm done for the day, because it's going to be after a race and I'm not doing two more. But today is the exception, so I felt it a lot. I would say every step in the 5K. Luckily, by the time it was over, it basically went numb. So for the mile, I didn't really notice it as much, if at all. But my mind was elsewhere during the mile, trying to push and, keep up and try to overtake the two that were in front of me. So my mind, no matter how much that would have hurt, my mind was elsewhere. I'm sure I'm going to feel that later when I go for a run and restart. Might have to do it on the treadmill, even though it's so nice out. But yeah, it was a good day. My car is a complete disaster. You can probably see shit all thrown on my back, all kinds of changes of clothes, gloves, hats, shorts, pants, socks, shoes, food, you name it that you would need for running. It's all thrown in here, all mixed. It's gonna be real fun sorting it later. But it's a nice race if you ever want to do it. Joella, who puts it on with the Team Fit Families, she does a lot of work with kids. Well, I don't want to say kids, but we'll say high school and below. Like, she works with them a lot, doing like tries and stuff like that. The top three people in the 5K were actually all of her runners. So obviously she knows what she's doing. She's always been nice to me, so I try to support her when I can. She puts on good events. There's always some kind of twist as well, like today's the hills. I think the one top of the hill, there's like jello shots if you're into that. All of her races have that Jenny Lee bread. We had some chocolate chip cookies, and these like pretzel things. I snacked on a little bit. And the awards and stuff like that. So she puts on a good race. They're always marked well. So I never had an issue getting lost as long as you keep your head on. There was actually a pace car for the half, or not a pace car, lead card for the half. I can't remember if there was for the 5K or not. I want to say there was, but there wasn't for the mile. It would have been really hard for the mile, logistic wise, but yeah, so there's that. But a lot of her stuff is like at Moraine State Park, or like the Zelian-Opal Harmony area, because I think that's where she's from. Smiley Miles usually does her races, Herb and Bonnie and all them. So it's chip time. I think this benefited the Rotary down in Harmony today, so a good cause. Thankfully we had to use her building because I really needed to poop after the race. I don't know, just in general an all-around good time. So check out some of her events if you ever want to do something cool. I know she does like a reindeer race where you can do 2 or 3 races. She used to do a groundhog race where you can do 3. So you have options. And what's nice about her options is she allots time where if you want to do all 3, you can. It's not like your typical race where you can either do a 5 or a 10K. She'll give you the option to do both because she staggers the starts. So that's kind of cool. The drive wasn't bad. I'm trying to think what else to say. I don't know, I'm happy I went. I'm coming home happy. Maybe a little tired, but I don't know. I was gonna GoPro the course. I forgot batteries, and I forgot my phone holder to put on the rear view mirror. So, my bad. I didn't get the video any of the courses. Wanted to do all 3. I did drink another Fit Aid between the half and the 5K. I drank like 75% of it. It had 200 grams of caffeine, which probably kept me going. It's keeping me going right now. And then I finished the other 25% between the 5 and the mile, which again probably really boosted me today. Gave me that extra juice that I needed. And right now I'm drinking Sam's Club Cola because I'm a cheap ass. Just to try to stay awake a little bit. Probably a little fat. I have been carrying a little bit too much weight. I'm getting kind of sluggish. I've been sluggish for like the last 2 or 3 weeks. So with my performances today, way better than I expected. The way I've been feeling and running. Even did a 20 miler on like Tuesday. And I dragged a little bit Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Did I even run yesterday? I don't even know if I ran yesterday. I think I just slept, relaxed. But it's been hit or miss. So that's my Shamrock Shuffle trifecta happenings today. So as a recap, I took second in the half mile. I want to say 12 to 15 in the 5K, and then I won the mile. So I'm going home a happy man with a full stomach, great memories, and some food and snacks for later.